Three, two, one. What's going on, everyone? It's another Ash Wednesday. It's a new comic book day, or as future going to be calling it, no comic book day. I hope everyone's having a good time. Sorry to keep you waiting a little bit longer than I normally do, but got things going on behind the scenes, and I needed to stall. And there you go. And I hope everyone's doing well. It's been a little while since I had talked to everyone. I hope the new schedule doesn't change things up too much. Wait a second. Today's not New Comic Book Day. Oh, wait. But it is New Comic Book Day. DC changed New Comic Book Day. So, that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you guys about tonight and get your opinions. But first, I got to scroll up and we got to see who's first and wins the no prize. I'm stealing that from Marvel. They don't deserve it anymore. Nalo was first in the chat. How's it going, buddy? Dane was second. And, man, I got to scroll down for a while before Skip comes in third. Good to see you guys. I'm glad you're all here. Let's see. Dane says he got out of the house this weekend. Went down south to see his kids and grandkids. Really picked up his mood. Well, that's great. So glad to hear that. I hope everyone is healthy. You know, one of the big concerns, of course, is traveling around. And I was just talking to my roomie about that tonight, as a matter of fact, about, you know, traveling around and visiting relatives and stuff. And the worst thing about this whole COVID thing is how long it incubates. You know, it's like it can be 2 weeks, or some people have speculated even a month. It just bakes inside you and you don't know that you have it. And so you're going around, you can spread it. And that's kind of a unnerving thing, because you don't want to give it to anyone, but at the same time, you're like, I feel totally healthy. And despite what anyone's going to tell you, there's no logistical way to really test everyone. Even if we could test 330 million people, guess what? And even if the tests were 100% accurate, which they're not, an hour later you could catch it, right? So the test is only good up until that moment. So if you get tested and you assume that the test is accurate and you're clean, and then you walk into a clean room, you can be reasonably sure you haven't caught anything. But if you get tested and then you go to the grocery store and buy some groceries, who knows? Who knows? That's the unnerving thing. And I think it's something that we as a society are just going to have to get around. I'm constantly reminded of one of my favorite movies of all time. It's actually the movie that I consider the best film ever made, and I think probably most of you have seen the film. It's a well-known film. A little older now, so the kids may not. I think everyone should have to see this film, though, and it's Saving Private Ryan. It's not my favorite movie. It's not like it's super entertaining to watch. That would be Return of the Jedi. But as far as just when it comes to a matter of filmmaking, my objective criticism of the film, I personally consider that to be the greatest film ever made. Obviously, there's no science to that, so no one can really nail down what it is. It's all a matter of opinion, but be that as it may, I'm constantly thinking about that movie lately. And specifically, the invasion in Normandy scene. That's probably the most popular part of that film. And, you know, how horrific it is. These guys, they're on these, little transport boats. And if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. And if you haven't seen the movie, shame on you. I know it's a work of, you know, it's just a film, but it's a film based on real people that really gave everything so that we could have the luxuries and the things that we have today. And you should know what your grandfathers did for this country. But anyways, they're on the boats, and if you, like I said, if you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. This is one of the most horrific, crazy scenes in film history, and those gates go down, and they're on the beach, and they charge up, and they are just getting mowed down by the Germans. And the reason I'm thinking about this film constantly is because of the current state that we're in, and the arguments that I'm constantly getting online with people in regards to the COVID and all this stuff, and oh, you just want people to die, Ash. Your rights. We have the right to not get infected, and that. And I'm like, yes, I get that you want to protect people, and I'm never advocating that we should just go out and be irresponsible and start coughing on people and doing stupid stuff like that. Like, but at the same time, we have to realize, just like these soldiers did in Normandy, that you can't save everyone. There's risk. Imagine if the mentality that existed today with the whole COVID thing, these people were running World War II. Well, we can't invade Normandy because soldiers might get shot. That can happen. We need to make sure no one gets shot. No, you have to understand people are going to die. It sucks. It's horrific. That's a pandemic. That's the nature of things. We've been making films about pandemics forever. If you go see the film Contagion, if you go watch Walking Dead, society is well aware that a massive pandemic, Contagion, could easily kill off a bunch of people, and you just have to deal with it. And it sucks. About how society, we need to reopen the economy and stuff, is similar to that. We have to drop those gangplank. We have to, invade those beaches. And so, yes, are some people going to die? Yes. And it's going to be tragic and very sad, especially for the loved ones. I don't want it to happen. But it's a necessary thing. It's necessary, because if we don't invade Normandy, if we don't stop it, we're going to just all die. We're going to die of other things. Anyways, I'm not here to get you down. I just really think about that movie, and it's a fantastic movie. And this is my opening blather part of the show here, where I talk to you about things. And let's see. I got to scroll down. You guys have been really talkative. Sounds like people are excited about McDonald's. Yes. What's that? Dun 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 dun. I'm loving it. Skip and Tosh is making fun of the music here. Ash is Phantom of the Opera. Lost Sheep says, is Ash really playing the piano for us? So, extra brownie points for anyone that can recognize that music. I'm guessing you guys can. It's pretty. That is it was from a mix. I don't exactly know which specific piece it is, but it's a mix of music from Studio Ghibli, or Ghibli, which is the studio that Hayao Miyazaki founded. And if you don't know who Hayao Miyazaki is, you need to know. This guy is like one of the grandmasters of animation. He's been called the Japanese Disney. He's made some of the greatest animated films ever made, including films that you may have heard of: My Neighbor Totoro, Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, more recently, film Ponyo, Kiki's Delivery Service, Castle in the Sky Laputa, Nausicaa and the Valley of the Wind. I'm struggling to keep all what was it, the castle one? I can't remember. Howl's Moving Castle, Kiki's Delivery Service. All of these films are fantastic. He's just a phenomenal filmmaker. There's no one like him. He makes films that no one else can make. They're just simply unique. He's simply an artist. And anyways, those are selected piano pieces from his films. And I don't know, I just threw it on there. So I urge you guys check out those films. Spirit Away is a really good one. It's one of my favorites that he did. Princess Mononoke is a really good one. My Neighbor Totoro is brilliant. Let's see. Eric says, I can't believe Ash is doing that no talent Hickman stuff when there's still America's left to review. Oh, bravo, my friend. Bravo. Um, let's see. It's going down. Anyone else expecting to see Bill Bixby walking down the lonely road as this music plays? Yeah, it actually does kind of have a reminiscent part to that. Let's see. Everyone's favorite Jimmy is here. What's going on, Jimmy? Uh, so going back to New Comic Book Day, what is um, what is your guys' thoughts on DC changing it to Tuesday? I'm a little annoyed, to tell you the truth. Um, I don't know all the details. I know some people made some videos on them. I haven't watched them yet. But my understanding is that DC's like, yep, it's Tuesday going forward for us. And that's the part I'm annoyed. I'm not really annoyed if New Comic Book changes. I've dealt with it on Thursday. It's been Friday at one point. What I don't like is you want your DC comics, go down Tuesday. You want your Marvel comics and everyone else, go down Wednesday. I don't want to go to the comic book store twice. I do enjoy going to the comic book store, but I don't want to have to go twice. So yeah, DC, I think you need to walk that back. And when it was a temporary measure because you're trying to find alternate means of distribution, so be it. Do what you need to do. But if Diamond's going to start shipping again, and you can go back to the way things were, I need a more compelling reason to buy into it. Because like I said, I don't think it's consumer friendly. One person I was talking or heard talking about it was making a comment about, so what if like other companies get the same idea? Like if Marvel decides to have their own day, like Marvel Mondays, right? And then DC Tuesday, and then everyone else is Wednesday, and then Image is like, well, we're going to go to Friday. And you're just like, oh, Jesus. Like, no, like, I don't know. We'll see what you guys have to think about that. Let's see. Jimmy says that's the best movie ever filmed. So I don't see him saying a different movie. So he must be agreeing with me, which is about time Jimmy agrees with me. Let's see. Computer Robots in the house. Good to see you, buddy. He says, how was your weekend? It was, surprisingly better than usual. I got to see a long-time friend who was in town. I haven't seen in years. So that's why Sundays was canceled, by the way. So that was good to reconnect. And let's see, scrolling down. Dane says, I can't even follow your guys' conversations. Tehillim says, I'm not worried about it. It means my comics will be ready on Wednesday here in Australia. Damn it, Tehillim. Just because something works in your favor. Law Sheep says, if they change it to Tuesday, everyone is still going to get comics on Wednesday. I don't know. Because lately DC's been doing those crazy, like first appearance of what's her name, the new Harley Quinn girl, like, remember $20 right out of the gate. Like people are gonna go to the store wanting those books. I don't know. Let's see. Computer Robot says, stop being lazy. Go down to the comic store twice. It won't kill you. I don't know. COVID says differently. It could actually kill me. Computer Robots. I don't know if you've been paying attention. And maybe it's just because you're a computer and a robot and you don't have to worry about organic viruses. But the rest of us, it actually could kill us. No, I'm just joking. Lost Sheep says, I always get my comics on a Saturday, but I've been deep diving in the old comics to read. Been posting a lot in the Discords. Cool. Dane says, Marvel will come around when DC, Image, and Dark Horse all go to Tuesday, and then Marvel sales get dinged. Maybe. I think what matters is what Diamond does. And I think correct me if I'm wrong, because like I said, I haven't really listened to all the stories. But from what I'm piecing together, because DC's using multiple distribution methods, they're not Diamond exclusive anymore. And what they're saying is stores may sell their books on Tuesday, which stores get their comics from Diamond on Tuesdays. Possibly even earlier, I'm not sure, but I know for sure they have them on Tuesdays, but they're not allowed to sell them yet. Some stores actually break that, and they do sell them on Tuesdays, and that's why you can go online and see people making YouTube videos of new comics on Tuesdays. But and that really annoys me, by the way. But DC apparently has come out and just said, "Yep, don't you guys can stores? We don't care where you get your books. You can sell DC comics on Tuesdays." So they've given the blanket carte blanche sort of permission. So I really think it matters what Diamond does. Like, the reason why New Comic Day is Wednesday is because Diamond ships on to have the books come out on Wednesdays. Like that's their release date. But Diamond can't dictate release dates for other distributors, right? So we'll see how that works. And again, if I'm missing information, if I have things wrong, by all means correct me. Like I said, this is just me piecing things together based on little bits and parts that I've heard. Let's see. Go check out Ash's Discord or Thinking Critical Discord. If you want lots and lots of like text noise, go to Thinking Critical. He's got a lot more people on the Discord. If you want like more intimate conversations with less people, and you don't come back like a day later and there's like pages and pages of text you got to scroll through, that would be my Discord. Wes is kind of like the Walmart. I'm kind of like the Jiffy Mart when it comes to Discord servers. Let's see. Eric says, except for Perch, who is Are you saying Perch is anal? Is that what that is? I'm going to tell on you. I'm just kidding. Tehillim says Diamond should have some competitors. I both agree and I both disagree with that, because Diamond, okay, yes, from a consumer consumer perspective, Diamond having a monopoly is not good for the consumers. They get a monopoly. We all know how monopolies control price. There's no competition. Also, quality can go down because, again, there's no competition. The problem with having competition for Diamond is one of the same reasons why cable companies, up until the invention of satellite, and then now, of course, you can stream stuff on the internet, but back in the day where there was no competition for cable companies is because there wasn't enough money to be made by sharing a network, right? If you were a cable company and you went and laid all this, cable line throughout the entire city, you got to imagine like the hundreds of millions, perhaps billions of dollars to cover an entire city with your hard network. Huge amounts of resources invested so that you can then reap the rewards of selling people cable service. We've dropped lines under the streets everywhere, ran them to every single home, and now we ask you to like tap in and pay us a monthly fee. And the reason you pay that monthly fee is because it costs all that money. They need to make their money back. But now imagine if a cable company was like, well, we're going to do the same thing, but we're not going to be guaranteed to have the whole customer base. There's already a cable company here. They've already laid all the infrastructure. I now have to lay down my stuff. And then people, if they do want cable, there's a 50-50 chance they're going to go to the competitor anyway. So it's a similar thing with Diamond, is like there's not enough pie to share. Diamond is, as we saw 2 weeks into the COVID, the Diamond folded. Like they're living paycheck to paycheck, so to speak, and there's not enough money in the industry for another guy to come in and be like, hey, we're going to be competition and we'll both be profitable. It's not like Coke and Pepsi, right? There enough soda gets sold that there's room for dozens of soda companies, right? Because there's just so much. But with comics, there's not. If Diamond only got half of the revenue that they're getting now, I don't think they would exist. That's my opinion. Let's see. Dane says he's saying purchase an AI. Okay. Looks like anal to me, Eric. I don't care. He probably means AI, but it's funnier as anal. Computer Robot says we need to see Ash's hilarious best moments on Twitter, video, or stream. I don't have a hilarious best moments. I barely have hilarious moments. Dane says Lost Sheep Jiffy Mart is a convenience store. If you run in when you get gas and buy a pop and a candy bar and a pair of sunglasses. Oh, okay. Lost Sheep is asking what a Jiffy Mart is. Yeah, it's a. I don't know if it's a real convenience store, if it's a fictitious one that I like saw in a movie somewhere. It's like the generic one, since they can't use like 7-Eleven or Circle K or whatever the bigger name convenience stores are. So they're like, we got to make our own. That's what I always thought it was, at least. Maybe there is a real Jiffy Mart. I don't know. But being as today is, wait a second, is today New Comic Book Day or not? If DC has ships on Tuesdays and then everyone else is Wednesdays, we don't have a New Comic Book Day anymore. We have, because you can't have 2 New Comic Book Days, can you? How does that work? I don't know. Why do they gotta make things so hard? Thanks, COVID. So anyways, I did pick up some comics. So we're going to treat it like it's Ash Wednesdays on a Tuesday. It's Ash Tuesdays. That doesn't have a ring to it. I'm going to be really pissed at that. I can't do Ash Wednesdays anymore. Stupid DC. Anyways, you can see here in my shopping cart, I got some comics. I'm going to buy them live. And this time you're going to see. Because I did it right. I made them on my screen. My first book here, I got Superman, Man of Tomorrow number 3. And Superman, Man of Tomorrow number 4. And Batman, The Adventures Continue, number 3. So, as you can see, I always got to show your receipts, kids, remember. People think we don't buy comics. So I'm buying them. I hit proceed to check out. Wait for it to do its thing. And then complete my order. Ding, 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 ding. Look at this little thing you have to check here. You're not buying real comics. There it is. Your purchase was successful. You have 3 items. So I now have these books. And you can find them in my books. $2.63. What a deal. Imagine if comics were really that price all the time, people might buy more comics. Check this out, though. I'm gonna start tonight off with some Batman. Look at this cover. Batman Adventures Continue. Look at who did it. My boy, Sean Gordon Murphy. How do I get this to be full screen? And how do I get it to show the whole cover? No. What is going on here? Why is it not showing the full cover? Comixology, you're really pissing me off. All right. I'm going to exit out of here. What the? Why is it not showing the full cover? Because Amazon is the biggest company in the world and they can't run a freaking comic book site. And people tell me that if comic book stores go away, we'll just have Amazon. No. Amazon can't do comics. Yeah, look, you can see here what the full cover looks like. So I got to view it in the store to show you what the whole cover looks like. So here you go. John Gordon Murphy cover. Look at that. Man, I would so love to see Sean do like an in-continuity Batman. It's never gonna happen, but at least we get this cool cover. Now he does Deathstroke. That's cool. So cool. And actually Nightwing drawn with the in-continuity Nightwing, not the GCPD Nightwing and Batgirl. I think Sean might be my favorite. He's in my top 3 of current modern artists. So I'm being told hit the zoom out glass, boomer. All right. We'll hit the zoom out glass and see. We'll see if that does anything. I got to go back to hit read. Zoom out glass. Nope. See, because the cover of the actual comic, where you read it, these digital books, it's actually like a widescreen kind of format, which will be really awesome on my iPad. It's like a 4:3 ratio. That's fantastic. It actually meant, it's good that they thought, since it's for digital purposes, they formatted it for the digital. But obviously the comic cover is still using the normal rate. Why can't you have both? It's one extra image. All right, so I'm not a boomer. I wasn't wrong. Lost Sheep says, thank you, because we have 7-Eleven here and Exxon and BP, and nothing like Jiffy Mart. Yeah. Jiffy Mart is like, it's like the generic brand. It's like we're not a 7-Eleven or an Exxon or something. So like we're some mom and pop store. Lost Sheep says, whatever day you pick up your comics is your comic book day. Yes, it would be your comic book day, but I'm talking about new comic book day. Let's see. Can we see Ash's credit card number? Just kidding. Hackers and scammers don't come from. Thanks, computer robots. Thanks, man. Lost Sheep said, I see. Damn, I thought that would have done it. Oh, well. All right. Good. So I didn't look like a complete fool. Tonight, kids, we're going to read Batman, The Adventures Continue, Chapter 3, Mentors, Part 1. So it's a new story by Alan Burnett and Paul Dini. Artist is Ty Templeton. Tonight, I'm drinking iced coffee. I don't know what you guys are drinking, but I don't know. I like sharing what beverage I'm having. I don't know why. I like sharing what I'm eating and drinking, apparently. It's been a while since I've had In-N-Out, by the way. So I'm kind of hoping Ash Wednesday comes back. Nice. Yeah. I got a little cold brew kit, so I make that coffee in the fridge. I pretty much don't drink hot coffee ever. I'm almost like strictly, well, maybe like 90% iced coffee drinker. I know some people are turned off by that, but I've been having that way ever since I was a little kid. My great-grandmother, I'd go visit her. I was like a 9-year-old kid, and I'd visit my great-grandmother, who was like 90 or something. And she would make iced coffee, and she'd ask me if I wanted some, which was weird. I might not even have been 9. I might have been younger. And it was like, in those days, I guess even today, but kids didn't drink coffee. Like, you didn't give, that was like an adult thing. It was like giving a kid coffee was like akin to giving him beer. But she didn't care. She was like, oh, I'm making some iced coffee. Would you like some? And of course I was like, ooh, I can have some. And I just grew a taste for it. And this is one of my favorite coffees. I'm not sure if you guys are coffee drinkers at all. If you are, stay away from the blends. These coffee blends, they're like ruining good coffee. And I can thank Starbucks for that. Always get a whole, like a single bean coffee from an area. Coffee is very much like wine, where it very much matters where the beans, or in the case of wine, where the grapes are grown, really affects the flavor. My favorite coffee ever is Kona, like full Kona coffee. Not a blend, which is mostly what you get if you're in the States. But my affordable favorite coffee, when I don't want to import Kona, is I found this one called Costa Rican Terrazzo. Not regular Costa Rican Terrazzo. You can find it oftentimes in stores. And just if you see like a store brand, I don't know what stores you have in your area, but like Safeway, this Safeway store brand has one, and it's perfectly fine because the brand doesn't matter. It's all imported anyway from Costa Rica. It's the same bean, so don't waste your money on like brand names like Starbucks and stuff. Anyways, I'm blabbering. Let's get to Mentors Part 1. I don't remember what was happening last time because my memory sucks. But this is a new story. It should be easy to get into. One thing about downtown Gotham, you're always guaranteed a great show, even if the movies are bad. Out of my way! Run! And tonight, it looks like we have a sequel. Or perhaps more accurately, move that out of the way, a reboot. Mentors Part 1. You're done, Clayface. Rules are rules. If you don't have a ticket, you can't see the movie. Arrgh. I don't want to see it. I'm going to destroy it. Yes, you've made that painfully clear. Gangbuster was my greatest role. Mine! Matt Hagen. How dare they remake it without me? Forgotten and replaced. I hear that, Mud Pie. Move in fast. Don't give him time to change. Or split. Way ahead of you, bats. Honk. Careful. Even at half strength, Clayface is dangerous. There's nothing Goo Man can fling that I can't handle. Robin! Annie? Help me! Wait, that's not... Oh, yes it is. The worst mistake he ever made. Ah, freezing! This is for Annie, Muckface. Crack. Kids got anger issues. Always a plus in this job. Only thing about rage, it's sloppy. Easy to turn back on the attacker. Looks like the Cape Crusader's gonna be down one bird. Well now, who's this? Looks like you could use a hand. Or two. You... Fast-acting sedative. He'll wake up in 6 hours with nothing more than a bad headache. If Mud can have a headache, of course. Sure. Thanks, mister. Deathstroke. That's the code name I've heard associated with a mercenary who matches your description. I think you'd be the first to advocate using a fear-inducing title, Batman. Tonight, however, you can call me friend. Farewell. Awesome! Really? Well, he was. Even Interpol doesn't have much. A few blurry photos and a name, Slade Wilson. That information there on... What information there is on him is impressive. And intimidating. If half of these reports are true, he's one of the deadliest men to ever carry a weapon. I'd ask you what your interest is in this, Merc, but I'm sure you by now that you're... Some nights, it doesn't even pay to look. Chaos moments ago as Batgirl engaged the rogue daredevil Roxy Rocket in an aerial battle high over Midtown. Awesome. These rockets cost money, you know. Send the bill to Batgirl. 123 Try and Find Me Avenue, Gotham City. Nice. Nicely done. Feet off the handlebars, please. It takes a unique fighter to bring down a thrill-crazed maniac at 200 miles per hour. 250. And if you're looking for an autograph, I don't sign them. I'm being honest, but I'm hearing a lack of trust. Better? Mask's only part of the mystery. Who are you? A man on a mission. Very hush-hush. You understand. Half the inmates in Arkham say that. Now, if you don't mind... You and the boy are quite good. A testament to Batman and his training. Without you, all of you, the city would have rotted away long ago. Why do I feel like I'm listening to a sales pitch? I'm just saying, there's a bigger threat for a woman with your talents. You could go far under my supervision. I'm doing fine right here. Are you now? For example, are you aware you're being watched? What? He knows. Damn. Better lie low. I've worked too hard to have to unravel it now. He said I was good? He said we're both good. Yes. All due to Batman's training, of course. Don't put too much stock in his compliments. Ouch. Cold. Not that they aren't deserved, but men of Wilson's ilk are visible only when they need to be, and only solicitous when they want something. I definitely got the vibe he's after someone. Didn't say who, though. Then there was that guy spying on us. Barely caught a glimpse of him. So weird. Anything identifiable about him? Just a shadow, really. A ghost. Stay sharp. If he's after us, he'll tip his hand in time. As for Deathstroke, keep your distance until I learn more. So, what's she like? Headstrong, opinionated, smart. Very much like you. Sonny. Blam. Not that much. Then again, I couldn't really get a sense of her through the window of a speeding van. You'll meet her soon. And the boy, too. Manipulating the unwitting Clayface was an inspired way to initiate contact. Everyone in the underworld knew Hagen was desperate for a cure. Posing as a nameless drug dealer, it was easy to supply him with an antidote that secretly increased his paranoia and savagery. Once Hagen began his rampage, the intervention of the Bat family was assured. Well done. However, it seems we aren't the only ones with eyes on Batman and his team. Our mystery man? Any clues? None. But whoever he is better not get too close. There's always room for one more on the kill list. Dun dun dun. Got a sword through Batman's chest, so Slade's not being on the up and up. Next, Deathstroke and Robin the Boy Wonder. Booyah! Boom! That was fun. I really enjoyed Paul Dini and Alan Burnett's take on Batman. I do miss the animated series. It's just really good fun. It just has all the core elements of Batman. It has the adventure. It has, but it also has the characters. The characters feel so rich and, three-dimensional to me, even though they're very simplistic. It's weird. It's weird how he does that. And I can tell when I read the White Knight series how much you can tell that Sean Gordon Murphy is a fan of the Batman animated series. It's just, I think when he started doing the White Knight originally, I don't think this is the case anymore. Now he's got his Murphyverse, but in the beginning, I'm pretty sure that he said that his story was sort of took place in the Batman animated universe, not the DC comic timeline and stuff like that, which explains why things are different. Let's see what's going on in the chats. Boom, boom, boom. You guys aren't very talkative tonight. Let's see. Marania's in the house. Man, there's like 2 comments. I need you guys to say things because that's how I react. Now I gotta make up shit to talk about. I'm gonna start talking about COVID again. Marania, good to see you. Bixby was David Bruce Banner, as I recall. That is correct. For whatever reason, the TV, the TV network thought that Bruce was not a good name for a character, so they made him change the name. Really weird thing, but that's how things go. Computer Robot says, "Say things, guys." Say things. Did you like the comic? Are you still awake? See, look, I'm giving you guys new comics, and thought you'd be just more enthused and excited. I thought that was really fun. The only thing I could wish for more on this book, to be honest, would be like, not that I don't like Ty Templeton's art, but it's very much like the cartoon style art. I would love to see a real like modern comic artist doing this book. So what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But I would love to see these guys writing for that. And I wish I could understand how to use Comixology on my PC, but I constantly fail. So that was Batman: The Adventures Continue, number 3. Computer Robot says, "Sorry, Ash, I was basically playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 for the Switch while listening to you." all right, if you don't want to see the pictures on a comic book, I guess that's fine. Um, so I do have 2 Superman issues. Those will be on future nights. Um, so, and I do wish I had. I wish I had that game. I'd play with you guys, but I don't. So I'm looking forward to Venditti's Superman, and we're gonna get on with Hickman's Fantastic Four is the main event, but I don't remember what I did with it. Skip says I'm about to get the Fantastic Four DLC. I thought it was the Doom DLC. I want to get that game. I want to get that game for the Switch just so that I can play Doctor Doom. I always wanted to play Doctor Doom in the Marvel Ultimate Alliance games. I'm very, very disappointed that the one that I don't have is the one where you get to play Doom. It'd also be kind of fun to have 3 buddies and actually play through it as a Fantastic Four. That'd be pretty fun too. Where's my Hickman? Which is the one that I own? This one. Dun dun dun. All right. We are about to embark on a journey that I have been told many times that I need to experience. And one of the people telling me that I need to experience this is Jimmy, who I don't see anymore. I'm gonna say he's been begging me, do Fantastic Four, do Fantastic Four. And he's not here. And I the first time I was gonna do it, I was like, he's not here, so I'm not gonna do it. But this time, here we go. Peter Robot says you need to buy the expansion pass when you get the game. Yeah, that's the problem. I can't right now. I can't afford to buy a $60 game and then pay for however much for the expansion pass. Finances are screwed. Thanks, COVID. So if I ever get this game, it's going to be down the line when it's in the discount bin. Which admittedly is how I came across the original Marvel Alliance games. I got them on Steam and they were super cheap. I think I actually bought them both together, if memory serves. Played the crap out of them. It was so much fun. Had all those characters to play through again and again. Hey, look, there's Jimmy. He's here. His ears? What's the term? His ears are bleeding when someone's talking about you. I don't know how that goes. Marani says the art in that comic did remind me of the animated series style of art. Yeah, that's Ty Templeton. I don't know if he was the designer of the animated series, like for the visuals. I think he's tied into it somehow. Let's. Jimmy says, "Have you read yet?" Read yet? I don't know what you're talking about, Jimmy. Speaking complete in sentences. Computer Robot says, what about you read Deadpool comics? Well, Computer Robots, do you know of any good Deadpool comics? Because from my understanding, Deadpool is handed over to crappy writer after crappy writer after crappy writer, and Marvel just shits out Deadpool comics, and there's really nothing of note to Deadpool. So if there's some sort of like awesome Deadpool series, I would be happy to check it out. I think Deadpool's kind of a neat character. I think they did wonders with the movie. He's got a lot of potential, but I think Marvel writers aren't good writers in general, and comedy is one of the hardest things to write. So the bad writers at Marvel already can't write, and then they really can't write comedy. So I usually just avoid Deadpool with a 10-foot pole. But I'm always willing to hear recommendations. Let's see. Skip says the DLC is called Shadow of Doom, correct? Yeah, that got me nuts. I was like, what? They did a Doom expansion? What? It's only for Switch? What? Let's see. Jimmy says I had to pick up my cousin from work. All right, well, I guess family does come first. Um, Computer Robot says, yes, always get it when you have the money for people who are in tight situations. Just wait for the discount and a huge discount if you know what I mean. The problem, though, is sucky thing is Switch. Like, none of their games ever go on huge discount. If it was like an Xbox game or a Steam game, I know I'd eventually find it for like $10. But I don't even buy like the Assassin's Creed games anymore because every time, like I bought, like the last one I bought, I never finished it. Not the last one, but I bought Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Didn't end up finishing it. I do want to. It was a good game, but I ended up getting distracted and stuff like that. And then the Odyssey was it Origins is when I got. Then Odyssey came out, and I was like, oh, Odyssey sounds even more interesting to me. And then I didn't get that one. And now the new Vikings one is about to come out, and I'm looking, and like you can get Odyssey for like $15. And I'm like, I should just wait until it's cheap. Because single player games, they don't really get old. You don't have to play them right away. Although I will tell you, my birthday is in September, and as long as it's not delayed, the game that I'm waiting for, CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk 2077, that might suck my life. You might not see Ash on comics for a while. Lost Sheep says, hey Ash, did you read any new G.I. Joe? Oh, did you any new G.I. Joe Liefeld is making? I'm not sure what you're saying there. Did I read? I don't read G.I. Joe. I do know that Liefeld is supposed to be doing a Snake Eyes series. I'll look at it. I'm not. I don't think it's out yet. There's nothing to read. I'm aware of it, if that's what you're asking. Computer Robot says, what about the first volume in the 90s for Deadpool? I don't know. I like I said, I don't read Deadpool. I read X-Force back in the day and thought Deadpool was kind of cool, and then they turned him into kind of a clown character, which actually was kind of cool because they didn't really have anyone like that since She-Hulk. And it kind of worked for the character, but then you know how Marvel does things. Anytime they do something that people like, they go overboard on it. And that's like Wolverine syndrome. Once Marvel realized that Wolverine was their most popular character, it was like he was in every book, and it was just they ruined the character. He's dumb, and they kind of did the same thing with Deadpool. Silver Surfer Black is my favorite thing that Kate's did, and I love it. Cool, it's good stuff. Of course, my birthday is September 2, the 20th. What's yours? Mine is the 26th. Just in case anyone cares. So we're 6 days apart. How imagine that. Yeah, Lost Sheep. I don't know if Liefeld's book is out yet. If it is, it's news to me. So I couldn't tell you. But I got to the bottom of the chat, so now we can read Hickman's Fantastic Four. Illustrated by Dave Eaglesham, who blocks me because he's a progressive asshole comic creator. Let's see, issues 570 through 572. Oh, wait, that's the art. Okay, so we're going to be starting off with issue 570 here. Oh, I better switch the transition so you guys can actually see. I had the wrong screen up. I need like a sound and audio guy, so I could just talk and then have, like all the big pros do. They just have someone that mans the sound and video board. They can have a real professional instead of me just doing it all by myself like a total novice. Okay, here we go. Once I built a great machine. Fantastic Four, Volume 1. Solve everything. Sorry, I need a drink of coffee here. The one bad thing about drinking coffee is I guess I can guzzle it, but it's not the same. Is it playing God? If you're truly serious about creation, then it's all right. I'll catch you. I don't think I'm right here. I don't think I want to. Let's do something else, okay? Look at me, son. It's okay to be afraid. It's okay to fail. But to say that you're not even willing to try, that's unacceptable, Reed. Okay, I'll do my best. Are you ready? I'm ready. Good. Now jump. Now. Oh, that's a nice full page spread. I gotta say, Eaglesham may be a jerk to fans, but that's some beautiful art. Crash. I am an instrument of fate. Look out! Sue, off! I have been created for a single purpose. Reed! We're in trouble here. Johnny's out, and I'm doing everything I can to hold things together. Maybe now's the time for some deductive reasoning? I am righteous vengeance in robotic form. On it, dear. Urf. It's actually fascinating. Each of these machines appear to have been manufactured specifically to defeat a single member of our superhero family. I cannot fail. Then we better switch things up. Smash! There was a hole in my logic. Hey, there's a guy inside. He ain't got no clothes on. It's Bentley Whitman, the wizard, Ben. I'd recognize that head anywhere. Johnny! Check the other machines. Will do. Yep, all three alive and kicking. Wait a second, when did Johnny Storm get this power? This is new to me. If there's anyone in the audience that can inform me what's going on. Hey, Dragon Majesty is here in the house. Good to see you. Ryuk224 is also here. Good to see you guys. Well then, be careful. There are people involved. Let's show a little compassion and restraint for our fellow man. Oof! Manhattan, the wizard's lair, an unholy temple of science. Is there anything more disappointing to a creator than the failure of his creation? Why is it that my sons so thoroughly fail to please me? It is all so very disappointing. I know that a father is supposed to unconditionally love his children, but I can only find room in my heart for anger for you and your current generation. I'm going to have to do something about this. Here's the last one. Reed, they're all the same person. Manufactured, I'd guess. Clones. Well, which one is the real deal? Something's not quite right here. Let's have a closer look. Oh, that's completely messed up. DNA-based processing, redundant intelligence centers, trans-universal, point-to-point data streaming. Really solid work, Dr. Whitman. Oh, there's the real problem. Hunter-killer clones designed specifically to terminate us, and you found a bigger problem? He's got plutonium-powered brains, Sue. He's his own final solution. Great. Any other bad news? Bomb's active. I can track the feed. Unfortunately, I only packed a single translocator. Don't worry, this shouldn't take long. I'll be home for dinner. Reed. Ploop. Huh? Ploop. Oh. What have you done? Is it playing God if you're truly serious about creation? No, it's not. You need to stop this. Don't be afraid, Richards. This is discovery. What do you say? Let's slice open some atoms and get a peek at the origin of the universe. Bentley, you're not well. You think I don't have to do this? I do. We need to burn it down and start over. Gods make mistakes, Richards. Look at us. When they lock you up, I'll make sure you get the very best care. I'll visit regularly, I promise. Maybe we can publish a paper together. Later, in the Baxter building. And that is what Daddy did at work today. Yes, pow! Take that, bad guys! Ha ha! Tell us another story, Dad. It's bedtime, Franklin. And tonight was an exception. You know that I don't like story time to be about whatever adventures your mother and I get into. You hear enough of that from Uncle Johnny and Ben. So, tomorrow night it's back to reading from the structure of scientific revolutions. Exciting stuff. Oh man. Good night, Val. I hope the part about the bombs didn't scare you. Dad, I know that you rebuilt the entire top of the building to act as an interdimensional panic room. I wasn't afraid. Franklin and I were fine. Besides, I'm 3 years old. It's important for me not to spend time thinking about things like that. Night. 3 years old? That's scary. I'd be freaking out if a 3-year-old was talking like that to me. I really hate going to bed. I know how you feel. When I grow up, I'm going to stay up super late, even later than Uncle Johnny. That's pretty big talk. I'm a pretty big boy. Love you, Dad. Me too, son. Good night. Hey, Dad. Yes? What happened to the little boy? Who? The wizard's kid. You know, the little boy in the story you told us. Well, as you know, when a bad guy gets captured, they usually get sent to prison. Then it becomes the responsibility of the authorities to help out with a situation like this. They'll find him a new home. So he's going to be all right? I hope so. Sometimes when children have bad parents, it makes things very difficult. Sometimes they need a lot of looking after. There's too much of that going on right now. Oh, but you're going to help him. You have to try, right? Three choices. In each envelope is an all-expensive paid vacation, each one to a luxurious remote and secluded location. It's time to choose. Contestant number one, what's it gonna be? I don't know about this. What's to know? You're ugly, you're lonely, and you just had your heart broken. Time to get out of town, man. Pick. Okay, that one. Kids are in bed. Thanks. Val figured out the changes I made to the building. How did? You should plan on getting used to it, Susan. She's gonna be much smarter than I am. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. 3 days, 2 nights on a beautiful new world with superhero celebrity Johnny Storm. Oh, and what's this? Prize includes fruit basket and a selection of scented oils and other fine bath products. Very nice, Benny. Well done. Ugh, you're just gonna ditch me for some girl when we get there. You can't prove that. Hasn't happened yet. We'll go this weekend. Have a bag packed? It's gonna be a blast. Should have picked a different one. I'm not sure how to handle this. The same way you handle everything else. Better than I do. You're a great mom. That's all she needs. Hey, these all say the same thing. You couldn't lose, big guy. Who loves you like Uncle Johnny? Okay, I'm going upstairs. Turning in? Yes, I'm exhausted. I never used to get this tired. You coming? You pretend that there's something wrong with me, but I know you see the same things I do. Math is the language of God, Richards. We've both done the calculations. This world is going to tear itself apart, and there's nothing either of us can do to stop it. We've been judged. I've got some things rattling around in my head that I need to deal with. I would tell you not to stay up too late, but we both know better than that, don't we? Just don't fall asleep in the lab, okay? Uh-huh. Sigh. Confirm voice authorization. There is always hope. Once I built a great machine. Chunk. Deep in thought, keep out, sign reads. It spanned the difference between the known and the unknown. It provided answers to impossible questions. What is the true cost of man's mistakes? What is the purpose of my life? How can I save my world in these dark times? And the one that changed everything, who else seeks the answers to these same questions? The machine was pure knowledge, a much too dangerous thing. So I hid it here, in my room of 100 ideas. 100 ideas I believed would change the world. Idea number 101, solve everything. And a greater one beyond that. I want to build a different future than the tomorrow I see on the horizon. What kind of man am I if I don't do everything I can to make that happen? So now I return to the machine. Click, You said you could help me. He took 3 days longer than normal. It is to be expected. He is a troubled and conflicted man. How can we help you, Reed Richards? How do I solve everything? Aggressively. You're me. Clearly I am not. And neither are these men. Then who are you? My name is Dr. Richards, but I prefer Reed. As I'm sure you do. Yes, I do. You two, your powers are like the members of my family. Reed of Earth 6590 and Reed of Earth 12 were chosen because you would find them familiar. We found this helps ease the transition. And what are your powers? Oh, there's nothing special about me. I'm just a man. Come with us. There's something you need to see. Where are we? A conduit that leads to a construct nestled inside the fabricated pocket reality. It's a place outside of both the universal structure and the space that exists between them. Do you understand? No. Here, the rules that govern all reality do not apply. It is here that we do our work. And where are we going? To meet your brothers. Welcome to the council. This is the good place made by great men. Here, all things are possible. This is amazing. What do... Attention, attention. Universal beacon activated. There has been a Galactus incursion on Earth 2012. Unexpected. My first day was nowhere near as interesting as this. This is what you do? Protect Earths from whatever? Policing time is a reactive position, Reed. We do much more than that, just as the founders of this council intended. Who built this place? We did, Dr. Richards. This is a dream made reality, a place to become something greater than what you were. We would like for you to join us. It's time you reached your full potential. What? They have infinity gauntlets? What? What the... What? What? You stood beside me, larger than life, and did the impossible. So, that's the end of that issue, I take it. When you do the trade paperbacks, they don't have a good... I can't tell where it ends. I really wish the trade paperbacks would just not edit it like it's one big story and just keep the whole comic book intact like the old school trade paperbacks did. But let's hit the chat up now. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Okay, going back up a little bit. See, Dragon Majesty says Deadpool Merc with the mouth isn't bad. All right, but isn't bad isn't the same as good. I'm trying not to find stuff that's like, this isn't terrible. Comics. Let's see, Jimmy says Silver Surfer Black. Okay, we already covered that. Robots, so true, man. Don't get me wrong, I love Wolverine and Deadpool, but I do not like it when they overexpose so many books because you lose the appeal of what made the character so great. So he's going back to what we were talking about earlier about how Wolverine was just overdone, and then Deadpool got the same treatment. And the overexposure is one thing, but the real problem comes in the fact that there's just not enough talent to make all that overexposure quality. So what happens is, instead of like in this case of Wolverine, right, where you got Wolverine in X-Men once a month, and Chris Claremont would do X-Men stories, and Wolverine would be in but he was part of an ensemble, and sometimes he wouldn't even be in the story. And then sometimes Claremont would do a story that had a lot to do with Wolverine, so he might be in the limelight, but he wasn't always around. And then Marvel did a mini-series with Wolverine. And so you're like, oh, you got 4 issues, or was it 5 issues? I can't remember, of Wolverine. And you're like, wow, and then it was gone. And then eventually they gave Wolverine his own comic book. And then eventually Jim Shooter gets fired. I think he actually got fired before Wolverine got his own comic book. And then Wolverine started making guest appearances like everywhere. It's like, hey, Wolverine's in Spider-Man. Wolverine's here. He was all over the place. Plus, then he had his own comic book. Plus, then there was X-Men. Plus, then there was another X-Men book. Then there was all the other spin-off books. We had X-Factor, New Mutants, X-Force, all this stuff. And Wolverine would be guesting all over the frickin' place. And the problem is not everyone's Chris Claremont. And so part of it was overexposure, but the big part of it was all those extra stories were just watered down, mediocre stories. And I think the best example is to kind of use Star Wars, right? When Lucas did originally his Star Wars films, he took 3 years to make each film, right? And then that was it. There were 3. So over a decade, he made 3 films. And then later on, and fast forward to modern times, and Disney's got Star Wars, and it's just like boom, boom, every year. But Star Wars. We're doing TV shows. We got another TV show. Now we got another TV show. There's so much Star Wars, and they don't have... not one single movie or show or anything lives up to those original Lucasfilm movies. And it's just watered down. So part of it is like it's overexposure, but it's overexposure of mediocrity. And it makes you not like the character. I liked Wolverine originally because it was great. I liked Star Wars originally because it was great. I didn't like it because it was the brand. It was the greatness that made me love the brand, not vice versa. And so I can talk way too long about nonsense. Nalo says he's liking the Batman animated. Me too. Let's see. Boop, 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 boom. Marvel motto: people love to flood the shelf because they will buy all of it, right? Marvel has the distinct privilege of being able to make a product for people who collect for price speculation. People buy Marvel, not everyone, but a lot of people buy Marvel comics for the same reason they bought baseball cards. They don't necessarily care about the story inside. They care about the collecting of it, right? It's all about, I own this issue. I'm a fan of this character. I just collect them. They don't necessarily need... The stories are kind of irrelevant to some of these collectors because that's not what they're into. It's like buying a pop, right? If you buy a pop figure, there's no story with a pop figure. You're paying like $12 for these things, and they don't do anything but sit in a little box. People just want to collect them. And that Marvel has that privilege because they're pretty much the most dominant collectible for comics. Independent comics almost never become worth anything. It's really, really, really rare, like a Walking Dead comes along and you're like, oh, so like Walking Dead #1's worth something. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles #1 is worth something. But you figure that book's 35 years old. It should be worth way more than it is. If that was a Marvel book, it would be worth way more. independent books can only go up so high because they just don't have that same collector appeal. It's not a Spider-Man. It's not Thor. It's not Captain America. It's not Superman or Batman. And, and those are DC. And DC has some collectible books because they were around longer than Marvel. But in general, DC is not very collectible, right? You can go back a little over 25 years, and you got like New Mutants number 98 is worth over $1,000. I don't think there's any DC comic in 30 years that's worth half that much. You don't really have the potential because just DC is not collectible. Anyways, my point being is Marvel knows this. This is why they do all the alternate covers, the chase variants, and all this bullshit, because they're trying to appeal to that collector mentality. Let's see. Dun, 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 dun. Marania says warm coffee can be guzzled. Yes, it can, but not enjoyed. There's a difference. Coffee's got to be either hot or ice cold, in my opinion. Marani says, I like this art a lot. Me too. The style of this art reminds me a lot of Brian Hitch. I think these two artists have a very similar visual style. I think I might even like this guy better than Brian Hitch. But it's very close. Let's see. Marani says it's a new power as far as I know. You would probably know better than me, so... Ryuk says, Reed Richards, just a man? Understatement if I ever saw one. yeah, I guess so. Well, I've always thought Reed Richards' intelligence was a superpower all of its own, because he's smarter than... You take, like, he makes Stephen Hawking's look dumb, like he's super intelligent. Skip says, I love this damn book, and it loops around at the end just perfectly. Cool. I'm looking forward to it. I did enjoy this issue, by the way. I very much enjoyed this issue. This was better. Well, I'll get to that in a second. Let me finish the comments here. Dane says this was a very talky story. That's true. And that actually is reminiscent to what I know of Hickman. He's a very cerebral writer. He likes to write about concepts. And that can be good or bad depending on what your cup of tea is. I like very cerebral type stories. Like some of my favorite movies are like highbrow science fiction. I'm one of the few people who seems to like really love the Matrix whole trilogy, not just the first film, because in the second two films it goes like really high level philosophy and scientific ideas and stuff that the first film is like, I know kung fu, and you can just enjoy it as an action film. But I love films of that nature that make you just rattle your brain, not just film stories. So yeah, I like the talkie when it engages me, when it makes me think about things. Skip says, everyone is not Chris Claremont. No one else is Chris Claremont except Chris Claremont, LOL. Highest tier of comics. There's only one, haha. Won't ever be another either. Nice. Quirk says, first two issues are my favorite story ever for Fantastic Four. Okay, cool. Skip says Reed's brain is definitely his true superpower. Jimmy says Reed can expand his brain to where he has the same powers as Professor X. Well, I suppose Reed can potentially do anything. When you have super intelligence, you can invent something to give you something. It's like, so as far as writing goes, you could write a story where Reed could invent something to give him powers to do whatever, or a machine that would replicate it, or the sky's the limit when it comes to super hyper intelligence, because in reality, technology is the ultimate power. So it's very dangerous to create characters like Reed Richards, to be honest, um, because there's almost nothing they can't do if the writer gets down and thinks about it. So having characters be so smart that they're essentially gods can be dangerous to have in a fictional canon, in my opinion. Skip says, I like all three Matrix movies too, and the Animatrix is underrated. Yes. Yes. Some of those Animatrix stories are fantastic, especially the one that's the two-part story that tells the whole origin of how the humans get put into the machines in the first place. Dude, that just was like making my mind pop when I saw. I was like, oh damn. Um, wasn't just animation; it went deeper into concepts and connected some things. Yeah, I agree, 100%. In fact, I thought the animation in the Animatrix was for the most part not very impressive. Like I was expecting better, but it's still cool. I love the Matrix so much. The Wachowskis, just the Wachowskis in general, are among my favorite filmmakers ever. I think they're so underrated. And they did the Matrix, which pretty much everyone loves the Matrix, because even if you don't get the higher concept things of the story, you can appreciate it on a level of like it's a sci-fi kung fu action flick and it's against machines. Like there's a real basic layer of the film that is super enjoyable. And if you watch it over and over again and like the layers of the onion kind of peel back, you can be like, ooh, and you can appreciate it at deeper levels if you so choose. The next two films kind of lesser to that. It's and that's so I think a lot of people don't like them, but also there are other movies. Speed Racer wasn't really a deep film, but to this day, I think it's one of the best live action adaptations of an anime. I mean, they captured Speed Racer like brilliantly onto live action. Now, if you don't like it, that's fine. I would probably argue that if you don't like it, you probably would hate the anime as well. But for doing what Speed Racer did, that's an underrated film in my opinion. And then their most underrated film is Cloud Atlas. Holy crap, it's one of the best films I've ever seen, but super highbrow. Like it's so cerebral. You might walk away from that film and your head's hurting, or you might walk away from the film and just be like, that didn't make any sense to me. And that's fine. Oh man, it's their best directed film in my opinion. Absolutely astounding piece of work. Yeah, Cloud Atlas. And then unfortunately, I think the studio, or not, the production company that they did their Jupiter Ascending, I think hacked that movie all up. I watched that movie and I see so much potential, but it feels like it's only part of a movie. I feel like there's so many chunks missing, and I feel like they weren't able to do what they wanted to do, and that sucks because I love the movie. It's enjoyable to me, but it's also it's got a lot of problems, and but I'm stoked about the new Matrix films, to be honest, because they're involved. So at first I was like, what? They're doing Matrix again, but I was like, oh, the Wachowskis are involved. All right, I'll watch anything those guys do, or sorry, those women do, because they both became women. So weird. Um, let's see. Marania says, this book shows how intelligent Reed is, which is sadly lost in the current Marvel where anyone can be a genius and smarter than Reed. Amen. Amen to that. I can think of right now off the top of my head 3 little black girls that are smarter than Reed. Which, not that a black girl can't be smarter than Reed, but it's like, why you need to make 3? Like, why? Reed, it's not that I need a white guy to be the smartest guy in the Marvel universe, but the fact is that was what was established, right? You read this story here, the reason why there's a council of Reeds is because it's Reed Richards, smartest guy on Earth. There's not a council of Riris. There's not a council of Suris, right? There's not a council of Lunellas, right? Moon Girl, to like. So you're stepping all over your own canon. I could handle like doing one, right? Like you make just a young character, but now you've also got Valeria, right? So it's like, how many people are smarter than Reed Richards? Oh, lest I forget, Amadeus Cho. Reed Richards isn't probably even in the top 10 smartest people anymore, because Marvel has decided that white males can't hold the spot, and it's really frustrating to me. There's, I'm not going to get into this. This is stupid. Skip says Speed Racer is dear to me. First anime when I was growing up. Nice. Did you enjoy the movie? Speed Racer. The Wachowski, were they brothers back then? I think they were still Wachowski brothers at the time. I don't think they became the Wachowski siblings until after. I get confused. Doesn't really matter, I guess. But Ryuk says, sorry, I felt like I needed an English degree for Cloud Atlas, and the casting of Hanks made it seem more highbrow. I don't know if casting Hanks makes it seem more highbrow. Like, Hanks gets cast in all sorts of mediocre films. He's a good actor, though, and I thought he was well put in that film because you needed an actor that could carry. What does he play? Like 5 different roles in that film, and it's important, yeah, to have the generational aspects. It all works for me. I need to watch that film again, though. It's been several years since I've seen it. It's starting to lose its clarity to me. Ronnie says Speed Racer is faithful to the anime, but the movie stands alone as well. You don't need to have watched the anime to enjoy it, but knowing the lore is even more enjoyable. That's true. Yeah, you don't need to see the anime. All I was trying to say was, if you liked the anime, the movie doesn't deviate from the type, the way the story is told and what it is. It's like the same flavor. The only people I ever met that didn't like Speed Racer were people who also didn't like the anime of Speed Racer, which to me is a testament to, it's not the film that's bad, it's the content. You're just like, well, I don't like chocolate ice cream, so it doesn't matter which brand of chocolate ice cream it is. It's all bad to me. But if you did like Speed Racer, I don't know anyone that liked the anime of Speed Racer that was like, oh, the movie was crap. I think most people were like, holy geez, they really captured it. And then brought their own element too. That's what I kind of appreciated. Kind of what Venditti does with Hawkman. He really captures Hawkman, but then like adds himself, his element to it, and builds upon it and makes it even more than it was. Ryuk says the problem with the intelligence factor in Marvel is there's no actions from those characters that shows this intelligence. Well, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, when you're a comic book writer, you're trying to write a character as brilliant as Reed Richards, but you're maybe have an IQ of 110. What are you going to do? Like, right? Like, I'm very interested actually, though, in this series, because I can tell that despite what I think of Hickman's writing, his ability as a writer, I can tell Hickman is not a stupid guy. I can tell that he is a thinker, that he's an intelligent person. And while he's definitely not Reed Richards, I'm very interested to see what arguably probably the most intelligent writer. If I were to give everyone an IQ test at Marvel of all the writers, I'm guessing Hickman comes out the highest. Just a guess. So I'm curious to see his take on it compared to others. Let's see. Da-da-da. Skip says, and Marvel hasn't made any good reasons. He's following up on his, there needs to be a hell of a reason for someone smarter than Reed. It's like wrestlers that haven't earned the right to be put over by a top wrestler in a match. Yeah. Kind of like that. Rania says, Shuri, Moon Girl, Riri, others. Well, I listed Amadeus Cho. And then there's Valeria, who I'm not a fan of. I'm not a fan of Valeria. I think Marvel made a mistake by giving Richard's family another kid. I think Franklin should have been it, and quite honestly, like Franklin Richards himself was a Pandora's box that probably should have never been opened. And Franklin Richards worked really well when he was a toddler, when he was like 3 and 4 years old. But having Franklin Richards grow up is creating all sorts of problems. And they have to find ways of constantly fixing this thing. And because Franklin Richards is a god, and it just, and it's like, well, you can't have characters like Franklin Richards running around. So then you got to find ways to stifle him. And it's like, well, if you're just going to stifle him, why create him in the first place? It never works. When they created Proteus a long time ago, which was Madeline, not Madeline. What's her name? Oh, jeez. Gosh, help me. What's her? Moira McTaggart's son. Her son Proteus, which was the original. His same powers essentially as Franklin Richards. Just power over reality. Like he just was a god. So they did a really cool X-Men story. X-Men had to stop him. And then kind of he went away. And it worked because the X-Men stopped him and he went away. Franklin Richards doesn't work because he was never created to go away. But then you also have like Legion. Remember Legion? These godlike powerful characters. Phoenix in a somewhat different capacity. Marvel never learns. When you make these omnipotent characters, they just create problems. You can't have stories like this. You can have stories involving them, and they have. And the Proteus story was really good. They did some interesting stories with Legion in the past. They did interesting stories with Phoenix in the past, but to keep them around, to make them like a permanent resident in the Marvel continuity, is problematic, in my opinion. So it's my thing is like, why make them, and then why do more? Why, we need another one. It's like, did you not learn your lesson the first time? Jimmy says Riri is cool. All right, and we're gonna need to kick Jimmy out of the chat. Let's see, Rania. The ranking, as I recall, was Reed, Tony, Peter Parker, Xavier, Henry Pym, Hank McCoy as being the smartest guys in the Marvel Universe. You forgot Victor Von Doom. Victor Von Doom is arguably smarter than Reed. He's the only person that might be smarter than Reed, but it was never known. Tony Stark, to my recollection, was not the smartest. Tony Stark was a brilliant engineer, like a prodigy level engineer, but he wasn't necessarily super intelligent the way like Reed Richards is. Tony just had a knack for creating machines, and that sort of stuff. But as far as whenever it came down to like any other type of science, like biology or whatever, he was just like, oh, whatever. And then conversely, Bruce Banner had a lot of knowledge in, biology and stuff. He was like a doctor, but couldn't build an Iron Man suit or anything. That wasn't his thing. And same for a lot of these guys, like Henry Pym. He had a very specialized knowledge. But it was only really Reed and Victor Von Doom that had that super level of like, our knowledge breaks boundaries of normal things. Dane says, gotta crash. Love you all. God bless you. God bless you too, Dane. That is the signal for me to start wrapping things up. I like to go on too long because I don't like leaving you guys. You guys are really fun to talk to. I've missed doing these streams, and it's fun to have an outlet and sit around and talk comics. And I really enjoy it. So you have a good night. I'm putting on the stream ending soon. We're wrapping this up. I'm going to finish the chats. Skip says Stark wasn't one of the smartest. You are correct. Engineer wasn't a scientist. Dragon Match, he says, I think canon is Doom is the smartest by a small amount over Reed. Yeah, it's one of those things that it's really tough. I've always really enjoyed actually not knowing who was the smartest. I thought Marvel always did the best job where they never really confirmed to you. The one thing I will say about Doom, though, that I enjoy was that Doom was at least Reed Richards' equal. Even if he was a slightly less than Reed Richards, but Doom had areas of his intellect that Reed doesn't have. Doom is a master strategist, a brilliant tactician. Like, he is a planner and a schemer. No one outplans Doom, right? And then on top of that, Doom also knows magic. He's one of the world's most powerful sorcerers. So, he only, surpassed probably by like Doctor Strange. And of course, nowadays they got to put Wanda in there and magic, and any female that knows magic, of course, is more powerful than Doom. But it didn't used to be that way. So there's other aspects to Doom's intellect that surpass Reed. But I think maybe when it comes to just straight up hardcore scientific knowledge, or the ability to figure something out, Reed might surpass Doom. But I liked it when Marvel never really confirmed one way or the other. Sometimes Doom would figure something out that Reed couldn't. And then sometimes Reed would figure out something that Doom, and it was like, oh, who's really the smarter? We'll never know. I think that worked best for me. Let's see. Marani says Stark was the go-to for engineering problem. He was a genius in that area. For sure. I mean, that's why no one else made Iron Man armor. When it comes to building weapons and things, Stark is... that's his specialty, science. I think Doom probably is smart, could make things better than Stark, perhaps. But yeah, all I was trying to say is that he had very specialized knowledge. Whereas, like, I believe Reed Richards, if he put all his intellect into doing what Tony does, he could do what Tony does and better. But he doesn't. He divides, or he spreads his knowledge across many different aspects, astrophysics and biology and microbiology and, and whatever all the sciences are out there. Whereas Tony is just straight up engineering. Skip says, final comments. What are you going to say about this book and his writing? Thank you, Skip. Yes, good. Final comments. So I'm still semi-new to Hickman's writing. I picked up his FF book a while back. It's probably been a year now. When everyone said, oh, Ash, you got to check out his FF. Well, little did I know what people meant was check out his Fantastic Four. There's a book that ran kind of semi around the same time as this book. I think maybe it comes a little bit later, where it's actually FF, Future Foundation. So I bought that book, and I read it, and I was like, this ain't that special. I don't know why everyone's, pissing themselves over how great Hickman is. And then Jimmy was like all pissed off. I got in an argument with him. I was like, this isn't that good. He's like, well, you haven't read Fantastic Four. And I was like, I don't need to read Fantastic Four. I'm reading this. Like, it's not that great. So not that FF was terrible. It was decent. I would like to read more. FF is definitely better than his current X-Men stuff. Holy crap. And definitely better than his New Mutant stuff. But this is better than both. This is Very solid. It has some of Hickman's trademark cerebral writing, but it also feels like a superhero book. I really felt the personalities of the characters. It didn't feel so dry and wooden. Um, there was some good dialogue between Johnny Storm and Ben. Um, the interaction of the characters helped me kind of jump into the story and get a feel like, oh, okay, the character dynamic. I enjoy this. This is part of what makes Fantastic Four fun, is the family dynamic and the aspect and the diverse personalities. Hickman, for me, a lot of times can be very dry. And his X-Men stuff is astonishingly that way, where every character just feels the same. This might be due to the fact that it's a pod people story and it's by design where everyone's supposed to sound like they're a pod person. I don't know. This book doesn't feel that way. I enjoy that. FF was a little bit more dry, and I think that's one of the reasons I didn't jump into it as much, because it just felt like and it's more about the kids, and like Spider-Man felt awkward in it, and it just. I'm gonna give FF another chance after I read this, but I'm really enjoying this so far. I like the intelligent nature. It works well for a Fantastic Four book, which is supposed to be about science and scientific exploration. So I'm excited. I know when Hickman is on point that he's got a potential to do a lot of great things. I hope you guys are enjoying this book. I try to bring as much to the table as I can. And next week, or sorry, not next week, Thursday, we'll read more. And you'll get to hopefully enjoy more, because it's supposed to be really good. So I think that's about it. I can just go on night with the chat comments, so I'm not gonna. Dragon Majesty says FF comes after issue 588, and it will make more sense when you read it in order. Fantastic. Thank you for that information. That's what I'm going to do. I definitely do want to enjoy it. I hope you're enjoying it. I'm going to end this stream. Come back Thursday, please. We'll read some Superman from Venditti, and we'll read some more Hickman Fantastic Four. And I look forward to talking to you guys again. Thank you so much for showing up and having fun with me. Hope you're enjoying comics. I certainly am. Have a great